Hello students, today we starting a new chapter in physics, that is current electricity, chapter number 3 from NCERT textbook. In chapter 1 and 2 we study the phenomenon associated with the charges at rest. Now in this chapter we are going to study the dynamics or motion of charges. Usually the motion of charges or the flow of charges is known as electric current, and the study of flow of electric charge is known as current electricity. We can see such flow of electric charges or electric current from the nature itself. That is, during lightning, the electric charges are traveling from one clouds to the other cloud or clouds to the earth through the atmosphere. But that current is not a steady current. That current exists for a very short time interval and it is a large current. And usually that current is known as a transient current. And in this chapter, we are going to study about the steady current. Steady current means always the rate of flow of charges are same. First, we are trying to define what is electric current. For that, we have an area. This is an area A which is placed normal to the flow of electric charges, which is placed perpendicular to the flow of electric charges. Some charges are flowing in the forward direction, some other charges are flowing in the backward direction. We are just finding what is the total charge flowing in the forward direction in a given time. Here, suppose Q is the total charge that flows in the forward direction within a time t. We measured the Q is the total charge that flows in the forward direction within a time t. Then the ratio Q and T, the ratio between Q and T actually measure what is the amount of charge that flows normally through this area in a unit time, and that is known as electric current. And we are denoting the electric current as I by using a symbol I, and we are writing I is equal to Q by T. I is equal to Q by T. Electric current I is equal to charge by time, and it is actually the charge that flows normally through this area in a unit time. And the unit of electric current, you know that the unit of charge is coulomb and the unit of time is second. So the unit of electric current is coulomb per second, and 1 coulomb per second is commonly known as ampere, and it is denoted with a simple A, and it is known as ampere. Ampere is the SI unit of electric current. 1 ampere is equal to 1 coulomb per second. 1 ampere is equal to 1 coulomb per second. So the current flowing through this area is said to be 1 ampere. The current flowing through this area is said to be 1 ampere if 1 coulomb of charge, we can say 1 coulomb of charge flows through this area normally in 1 second. The current flowing through this area is said to be 1 ampere if 1 coulomb of charge flows through this area normally in 1 second. So actually this is a steady flow of electric charge. This is a steady current. The reason is that this ratio Q by T is a constant. That is, with increase of time, Q also increases. They are directly proportional. So the value Q by T is always constant. Then we call it is a steady current. But sometimes the current may not be steady. So by the time we are writing the same expression like this way, suppose if you are taking the time interval as very small, that is we are taking a very small time interval, we are taking a very small time interval delta t, and by the time we have a charge delta q is the charge flows through that area normally. So delta t in a small time interval delta t, we have a delta q charge flows through that area normally. So again we can write at that instant current through that area can be write as delta q by delta t, delta q by delta t. Again, if you are taking the time interval too small, that is delta t tends to 0, we can write the instantaneous value of current like this way also. I is equal to, we are writing limit delta t tends to 0, limit delta t tends to 0, delta q by delta t. Delta q by delta t can also write as dq by dt, dq by dt. So that is the current at that instant through this area. The rate, the time rate of flow of charge. The time rate of flow of charge is known as electric current, and it is measured in a unit ampere. Actually, we have some smaller unit for the measurement of current. In our daily life, we come across the current from a range of 10 raised to minus 6 ampere to 10 raised to 4 ampere. In our daily life, we come across the current varying from 10 raised to minus 6 ampere to 10 raised to 4 ampere. In our nerves, we have a current up to a range of 10 raised to minus 6 ampere. In our nervous system, we have a current in the order of 10 raised to minus 6 ampere, can be called as microampere. And in the lightning, we have a large current up to 10 raised to 4 ampere. In our domestic purpose, we are using a current of up to a range of 1 ampere. So, to measure a very large current and a very small current, we have some other practical unit. For example, milliampere, 1 milliampere. 1 milliampere is equal to 10 raised to minus 3 ampere. Like as we have microampere. 1 microampere is equal to what? 10 raised to minus 6 ampere. Such a smaller unit can also use for the measurement of electric current. But its SI unit is ampere, and current through any area is said to be 1 ampere if 1 coulomb of charge passes normally through that area in 1 second. Then current through that area is said to be 1 ampere. Now let us discuss electric current in a conductor. We know that a conductor having many free electrons in it. Almost all the electrons in the outermost shell are free. They can move randomly through that material. But there is no preferred direction for the electrons. They move in all directions, in all possible directions. So we cannot say there is some current in that conductor. But if you are applying an electric field to that conductor, all the electrons experience a force just opposite direction of that electric field. Let us see that situation. Here we have a conductor. This is a metallic conductor. Suppose this is a metallic conductor. These are the free electrons. We have many free electrons in that conductor. Actually, they are in random in direction. Some of the electrons are moving in this direction. Some others are moving downward. Some of them moving right. Some of them are moving left. There is no preferential direction. They are moving here and there randomly. But if you are applying an electric field in this direction, suppose now this conductor is in an electric field towards this side. So what happened is that all the electron experience a force opposite direction of this electric field. We know that all the electrons experience a force just opposite direction of the electric field. So what happened? They're getting accelerated or all the electrons are moving in the same direction, just opposite direction of the electric field. So now the direction of the electron is getting changed. All electrons are trying to move in the same direction. Now we can say some current is flowing through that conductor. Under the external electric field, all the electrons are start moving in the same direction. So we have an electric current in that conductor. This is the direction of the electron, and conventionally we are taking the direction of current as just opposite direction of the flow of electron. This is the direction of flow of electron. All the electrons are flowing in this direction, and the direction of current is conventionally taken just opposite direction of the electron, or in the direction of motion of positive charge. In the direction of motion of positive charge, or just opposite direction of a motion of electron. This is the direction of current. Now the current having both magnitude and direction. Here this is the direction of current. But we are not treating the current as a vector quantity. Current is a scalar quantity. Electric current is a scalar quantity. Even it having a direction and a magnitude, it is not a vector quantity. It is a scalar quantity. The reason is that it does not follow the laws of vector addition. The electric current does not follow the laws of vector addition, and we treating the electric current as a scalar quantity. The basic law regarding the flow of electric current was discovered by the scientist named George Simon Ohm in 1828. According to Ohm's law, this is the statement of Ohm's law. The current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference applied across its end, provided the temperature and other physical condition remains constant. This is the statement of Ohm's law. We know that current will flow through a conductor if you are applying a potential difference between the end of the conductor. Current can only flow if there is any potential difference between the end of the conductor. And according to Ohm's, the current flowing through this conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference between the end of the conductor. And mathematically, we can write as, if V is the potential difference between the end of the conductor, V is proportional to I. V is proportional to I. What is V? V is the potential difference between the end of the conductor, and I is the current passing through the conductor. And mathematically we will write again, V is equal to, we are removing this proportionality constant, just multiplying by proportionality by multiplying a constant R. So we can write as V is equal to R into I. Well, this proportionality constant here, R is equal to the ratio of potential difference and current, and known as the resistance of that conductor. R is known as the resistance of the conductor, and it is independent of both V and I. It is independent of both V and I, because V is directly proportional to I. When V increases, I also increases by keeping R as constant. R is equal to V by I. It is independent of both potential difference and current. Actually, it is the opposition offered by the conductor to the flow of electric charges through it. It is known as the resistance of the conductor. Every conductor having some resistance, and actually it is the opposition offered by the conductor to the flow of electric charges through it. And the resistance is measured in a unit named ohm. It is measured in a unit named ohm, and it is denoted by a symbol this. This is the symbol for the ohm, and SI unit of measurement of resistance is ohm. Now let us see, when will you say that conductor having a resistance of 1 ohm? When will you say the conductor having a resistance of 1 ohm. See here in this equation, suppose we applying a potential difference of 1 volt. See, V is equal to 1 volt and I is equal to 1 ampere. Then we getting R is equal to 1 ohm. R is equal to 1 ohm. So, the resistance of a conductor is 1 ohm. If 1 ampere current is passing through that conductor by applying a potential difference of 1 volt between the end of the conductor. A conductor having 1 ohm resistance, if 1 ampere current is passing through that conductor by applying a potential difference of 1 volt between the end of the conductor. But this Ohm's law hold good. There is a condition here. It's hold good only when the temperature and other physical condition remains constant. Otherwise, if the temperature and other physical conditions are changing, the resistance may not be constant. There is some variations of this V and I. The directly proportionality will not hold good. And we will discuss about such concept in later sections. So here, if the temperature and some physical conditions keep as a constant, we getting, if you are plotting a graph between the potential difference, if you are plotting a graph between the potential difference and the current, it will be a straight line. Here we are taking the potential difference here and the current here, and when potential difference is 0, no current will flow through that conductor. V increases. If V increases, I is also increases. So we getting a straight line keeping V by I as a constant. This law of this graph is always constant, as V by I is equal to R as a constant. Now we told that every conductor having some resistance. Every conductor having some resistance. So a conductor having some good resistance can be called as a resistor. Any conductor having some good resistance can be called as a resistor. Now its purpose is to resist. Now we call it as a resistor. So the circuit symbol to represent this resistor is this one. This is the circuit symbol to represent a resistor. It shows that the flow of electric current through this conductor is not an easy task. There are some restriction to the flow of electric current through this. So this is the circuit symbol to represent the resistor. And the resistor is nothing but it is the opposition offered by the conductor to the flow of electric charges through it. Okay, thank you.